So this is our topic. It's maybe a little bit unusual, and maybe I mightn't fully succeed in busting the myth, but like a piñata, I'll give it a good kick, and hopefully something will come of it. So I selected the title deliberately, and the focus really is on the word immediate. Immediate suggests that there's a lack of mediation, or there's no intermediary. And it has these connotations of speed as well and flow. And I find it really interesting. And if you look at the world, I suppose, today across several domains, like politics, we have a stable genius who doesn't need a mediator to communicate to potential voters. In the world of fashion, you have the producers of clothes and consumers of clothes, and that interaction or that intermediary there is almost disappearing. And it's obviously very problematic. And similarly in entertainment, you know, the people consume and also produce entertainment on platforms like TikTok. The financial system over the past 20 or 30 years, globally at least, has some of these same characteristics, where the flow of capital across borders and into areas where it never entered into historically has happened at a huge speed. And I think it was mentioned in the last talk as well, where that has accelerated, and it's had a very negative impact on planetary health for obvious reasons. And that flow of capital into projects and realizing a greater flow out of those investments or projects is partly the responsibility of financial institutions, and banks are the big financial intermediaries globally. The problems that this is creating, of course, are being recognized at a European level and at a global level. And you have statements like this from the ECB, which notes that, you know, the system itself on which we all kind of rely to a certain extent is facing collapse. And that's because of this extractive activity. If you work in a bank, though, that type of statement isn't hugely helpful. It doesn't necessarily change your behavior, because if I'm approached by a potential borrower and I start to slow down and intermediate and question how they're going to use those funds, well, I know that the banker down the street is going to give them a loan quicker than me. So these are cases of kind of a loan interaction, if you like, that are kind of based on conversations we've had with bankers over recent months. The two cases on the left-hand side of the screen would qualify as green loans. So for example, if a farmer wanted to borrow to buy a more fuel-efficient tractor, that actually qualifies as a green loan, irrespective of what the tractor is actually being used on the farm. Similarly, if a farmer has a huge stocking rate or a lot of animals for the size of his farm, he might invest in some technology that uses that animal waste in a different way. They're very incremental changes and aren't really going to solve issues in the area of biodiversity. The two cases on the right-hand side, however, where a farmer may wish to reduce the number of cattle that he has on a farm and maybe go into crop production or some other business model, that provides an opportunity for an intermediary to signal to the farmer that maybe something else can be done as well. Maybe a nature-based solution can be integrated into that new business model. And similarly, if a farmer wants to expand or deforest land that's close to where they work at the moment, well, maybe there's an opportunity for an intermediary to intervene and maybe give them finance to restore degraded land and produce some type of food on that degraded land, and a nature-based solution could be part of that component. Of course, that's very hypothetical and not very operational. And there are being tools built and being used. Systems like Encore at a European level do help us to identify, well, where ecosystem services are in decline. But again, from an operational point of view, they're not massively useful. And what we're doing in BioFin is we're trying to really focus and zone in on where mainstream finance can be redirected, and maybe for intermediaries to have available to them an NBS opportunity map where they can rank available nature-based solutions and can easily document how funds are being used, and in fact, how the positive impact in nature can be then relayed to shareholders. So thank you very much. Oh yeah, it's a question mark, so we're working on it. Thank you.
Thank you.